Okay. Hey everyone. Meteorologist Tuttle here with you. And it is time to talk about the weather here coming in this evening and then for tomorrow. And also we'll take a look into Friday. Had a couple of people asking me already how does severe weather look as we head into that date. So right now currently, just to let you know, the severe weather out there now is in the form of just some heavy rainfall. Some wind. So if we look at the traditional radar view here real quick, what we typically see out of this is some decaying thunderstorms. So this is happening just as I was letting you know last night and yesterday at lunchtime, even the night before. So the storms fired up in the eastern Texas Panhandle. They moved east and they are falling apart as we speak, but a good cluster here just to the west sides of the metro. And west of Tuttle and Minco, etc., and then back down here into southwest Oklahoma. That's what's left of this squall line, which never really got going very well. It was a very mediocre event as far as squall lines type go. But we did get some pretty good hail reports out of a few small areas and also a couple of wind reports way down there in southwest Oklahoma. Now what we're going to find out here, I think, with time is we're going to see some winds coming out of this event here as it continues to die out. Right now I'm looking at these winds. Let me switch over to this system here. Winds are only right now about 35, 45. I did see some 50 earlier, it's 46. So I do believe we'll see still some of these pockets of wind with this last batch of storms that moves through into the greater Oklahoma City metro area. So we could see some wind gusts in excess of 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour. So that's the only severe magnitude we would expect here across the greater Oklahoma City area. It wouldn't be from an actual storm itself. It would have been from what's left over the storm. We call that a wake low. And even then, since the squall line didn't really get quite congealed, the wake low is a lot harder to produce on the northern end of the comet head circulation because it didn't quite get its structure made. It's not bad, but it couldn't, it's not perfect. So we'll see if it materializes in that fashion. Otherwise, that's all we got here for tonight. So if you're looking for more, I'm sorry to disappoint you. A few sprinkles, glorified sprinkles, and I think that'll be good for you. Okay, so let's move on to I can show you a couple of reasons here real quick. One is the sounding here for the forecast, the current sounding that came in around 7 o'clock this evening, the balloon sounding from Norman. Huge monster cap. You get any storm that tries to run into an environment where you've got a monster cap, which is this big nudge of the red line here in the atmosphere, they don't have a chance, all right? Plus, you got these winds around 20 knots around the middle levels of the atmosphere. So those are two weaknesses we talked about in the forecast, which is why things managed to turn out the way they did. I'm no Nostradamus. I just look at the data and tell you exactly what it says. There's no hype. There's no wish casting here. I just tell you, hey, that's what the data shows. That's what the data shows. Now, the models have been indicating, again, some of those pockets of winds in the brown area here scattered throughout central Oklahoma. No particular spot, so that the models will never get it that good. It's just where some of those winds transfer down. And again, on the scale, it's up around 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour here across parts of central Oklahoma. And the recent model runs have backed off that by about 5 or 10 miles per hour, closer to 60, with a little less coverage, but the signal is still there. So that's the worst I can find out for you here for tonight. Hope that'll do you. So most of you won't have to worry too much. Some of you, you're going to hear something out there, right? So if you didn't tie down the trampoline or some of the plants, they may go flying, okay? All right, let's see. I think that's all I want to talk about here for tonight's weather. Let's move on in now to the future. Let me see here. I did not pop this up, did I? Let's do that real quick. Okay, this is the severe weather threat from the Storm Prediction Center for our Thursday. The tornado threat, as you can see, is just across northern Oklahoma. If you draw a line pretty much east-west along 412, that's Highway 412, and then parts into Kansas and on upwards, you can see it kind of barely clips us. A little bit of a wind and hail threat, and they're going to massage these numbers and these categories as we head into new data tonight and tomorrow, just so you know, as the models get a better view on that. Analog guidance, looking at the potential for a tornado tomorrow, does indicate about a 35 to 40% probability of us squeezing out a tornado here across northern Oklahoma tomorrow. Now, before you panic and get worked up, let me tell you what kind of tornado that would likely be. So here's a look at the forecasted here again for tonight. The radar data showing everything moving off to the east and then dissipating very rapidly overnight. And then as we head into tomorrow, you see these supercell storms trying to get fired up here across this corridor that runs from east-west. This is where we're going to watch for a couple of storms to get going. Now, as long as they can break the cap, which there will be a cap in place, they may not break, but if they do, those have the potential for some large hail and, yes, a tornado or two. Then those would kind of continue in the evening hours toward midnight, may clip the northeastern sides of the metro over in the overnight hours toward Tulsa, with new storms Friday morning in northeast Oklahoma. Those move down across the eastern parts of the state. Again, these will be coming out of Kansas from later on in the day. And so that's secondary round moving through during the day on Friday. We may get some more action here across central Oklahoma on Friday with what's residual of this outflow boundary. Kind of depends on where it puts the brakes on. Think of it like a mini cold front. And that looks like it may park shop right here across Oklahoma City, which means we get fire off new storms Friday afternoon. Otherwise, we'll watch out west for this activity to develop and then move in. So Friday looks like a pretty stormy afternoon and evening for about the southern half of the state. So if you had to draw a line along I-40, point south for Friday afternoon and evening, that is where the threat of severe weather would be. It may be multi-mode, which means maybe a potential of this, that, and the other. Hail, wind, hail, maybe a tornado. But here's the deal for your Thursday. Let's get into that real quick. Here's the forecast sounding for that area across northern Oklahoma. Again, strong cap in here, which may mean storms don't break. That's a strong possibility. The other thing is, you see these winds around 10 knots in the 1 kilometer level, so about 1,000 meters off the ground. Horrible for trying to sustain a strong tornado. It's not going to happen. So what happens is you get these significant hail analogs kicked off. So you do get some large hail, anywhere from tennis ball size or greater, in a lot of the historical references. You do get the profile for a classic supercell with a weakness in the wind field, though, at the lowest levels, which means it'll continue to kind of collapse on itself. So if you do get a tornado, it should be weak and it should be short-lived across northern Oklahoma, given this profile. All right, so if we see the storm break the cap and it's all alone, I do foresee a tornado, but I foresee a weak and short-lived tornado at this point, looking at the data. Now, not all data looks like that. Here's one run here, another run here, another run here, another model here, another model here. You can see in the majority of those models, there was nothing up here in northern Oklahoma. So again, tomorrow is not a done deal. It's not a guaranteed. It's a low probability day. Now, the Texas Tech model, which I do favor quite a bit in the springtime, not always, but it's favorable for this area. This is the significant tornado parameter, and this again is across northern Oklahoma, right along 412 from about the Woodward area up toward the Enid area. 4 kind of pegging off the chart a little bit. That just indicates that this is the best parameter for getting a tornado. All right. Now let's look at the actual outcome of that. And we'll see if it kicks off a few of those supercell storms. And lo and behold, it does trigger a couple of those in that area of the state. Ironically, they kind of move east and then kind of drift north aimlessly, which is an odd direction for them to go. But regardless, they don't have a whole lot of activity, so it does break the cap for at least a couple of storms. So, and that would be in the favorable environment for tornado up here in either Major County or near Vicey, or maybe out toward Enid, somewhere in that vicinity. That's just kind of like the sweet spot in this model of where that activity would be. But kind of anywhere from 412 around the Woodward area, east from there, to about I-35 seems to be the corridor of the favored parameters and conditions. Okay, so that takes us into the Thursday. Let me do a quick sounding for Friday. I did not look at Friday because this is all new data that just came in, and I can only cram so much in before I jump on here real quick. But let's take a look at the sounding atmosphere. We'll go 48 hours out. That's Friday afternoon, and we'll do this guy here. Okay. All right, Friday evening. Let me just pick a random spot, just see what the atmosphere looks like. And we'll see if there's any threat for a tornado given the environment. And again, we have time to massage or change this with time. All right, so what we have here is typical severe storms with some hail up to definitely golf ball size or a little larger. A messed up chaotic sounding from the morning convection from earlier in the day. Wind shear is good, LCLs are high, and wind shear, even though the direction's pretty good, it's a little weak here at the low to mid levels. So there might be a couple of tornadoes on Friday. They're not going to be anything too crazy, though, at least according to this data for now. So there you go. So that's kind of how things look for Friday. So there's your Thursday and your Friday, how that plays out. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you were able to take a chance to look at the forecast. If you watched the live last night when I mentioned, hey, okay, this is how it's going to play out. Now flip to the guy on your favorite TV guy and see if they go with this, which is the scientific part of the data, or if they go with more of that wishful thinking and fear, gloom, and doom. So I don't know how that panned out. I don't watch them, so it's just going to be up to you to decide how you want to interpret and digest this type of information. So I give it to you straight. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm also not going to hype it up either. I'm just going to tell you exactly what it is and interpret it for you. That's all I'm doing. I'm just an interpreter. All right. And then you can make your decision if you want to panic or if you want to feel secure. It's all up to you, however you want to process that information. I just give you the information. All right, so let me jump to you guys' comments here. First off on YouTube. Good to see you guys checking in. You're welcome, Amber. Also on Periscope. Well, you guys are chiming in today. You guys are kind of quiet the last couple of days. Major wants to know if she needs to move her car. And I think you'll be fine. Let's see. You guys are welcome, by the way. Yeah, we'll see about tomorrow. I think we'll see probably one or two, as long as the cat breaks. All right, go to my patrons here on the Closed Group Facebook page. I had a lot of you join in, by the way, and become Facebook fan subscribers, also Patreon members. So I appreciate that. So you get access to this other Facebook page that I have that I broadcast live on. So thanks again for you guys' support. Mary wants to know if she should cut her roses off her bushes so they don't blow away. Woo, tell you what, man. Love roses. But yeah, it'll be a little windy for any plants out there tonight. Hopefully I'll keep their petals. Oof. Let's see. Jennifer Smart went outside earlier this evening and put up anything that might end up in the neighbor's yard. Especially those trampolines. They love to go flying. So Tony, hope you got to hear about your Fridays. And I didn't talk about Saturday. I just talked about Friday. I have to go look at that. I'll do that here real quick after I peruse a few more comments. Let's see. All right, so a lot of you guys want to know about Saturday. Okay, I'll get Saturday. Give me like 2 minutes. I'll do Saturday, then we'll hang up. We'll hang up the phone call. We'll hang up the Zoom. All right. Main page again real quick. Yukon checking in, Deborah. I see you. Jacqueline, I see. Let's see. A lot of you guys from Edmond, Oklahoma City checking in. Gotcha. Anadarko's checking in. They're a little worried over there. So that's going to be a lot of wind. So that algorithm that kicks off, Kelly, will be for the wind within that storm. Just straight line winds. Let's see. Emily, you want a good thunderstorm in Hera? Is that too much to ask for? In May? Man, you don't want to ask for any thunderstorm in May because those are usually never pretty. Ask for a thunderstorm like in July or February. Those things are minor. March even maybe. Let's see. You guys are welcome. Yeah, actually, Nancy, I think if you're talking about Jeff George, he does a pretty good job. He's an Air Force guy, so I don't ever known him to get hyped up. It's usually just on the big three channels that do that. Tell you what, if you guys ever try to talk and read comments at a lightning speed at the same time, it ain't easy. Brain is like, whoa, overload. Okay, so let's jump into Saturday. Some of you are like, okay, I got weekend plans, Aaron. I'm tired of seeing your face. Give me some weekend weather. All right, I'll give it to you. Hold your horses. Let's do it. Just a second. Get the map going. All right, let's take a peek and see what Saturday holds. What does your future hold? Let's go find out. All right, so there's the storms on Thursday. Then here's Friday, moving through. There's the Friday night storms, cleaning us out. So Saturday morning when you wake up, man, still a lot of residual. Okay, so I didn't talk about this earlier, and I looked at the data, and I just forgot to mention it. But the squalling that comes in here for Friday evening, all right, the decays. But look at the residual precipitation that hangs around Saturday morning. This is a classic sign for a huge wake low, which means a lot of wind Saturday morning. Late night, Friday night, early Saturday morning. I don't know if there's a wind product on here. There is. Let's see what it does for that. Okay. First off, let me see what it does here for tonight. So there's some wind here tonight, right there. Yeah, there's a little wind there. That in the 55 to 60 mile per hour category looks like, or excuse me, knots. So there you go. Okay, then we're gonna go into see a little bit of wind with that line on Friday afternoon, eastern Oklahoma, and then no signal for that Friday night, Saturday morning business. But with a region of high pressure developing behind it, I don't know. That the pattern recognizes looks like maybe some wind. We'll see if the models catch on to that later on. But that's the only thing I could see right now for Saturday morning. Then let's see about Saturday afternoon, and we'll see if that is also an issue. All right, Saturday. No, so if you live in southeast Oklahoma, the model still has a little bit of storm activity for southeastern Oklahoma. The model, this is more of a coarse grid. It's not a fine resolution grid. So we're looking Miami to probably just east of Tulsa, say McAllister, back down to say Pauls Valley in this area of the state. All right, so this southeastern third. So basically dry everywhere else here is the way it looks. However, I do see some wind barbs here. So that does paint. Boy, it paints a lot of colors on the screen, doesn't it? Let's see. It does paint some type of pseudo boundary in this area. Now, typically you get a lot of subsidence. So think of that high pressure I talked about, which is sinking air. So a lot of times if that's too much to overcome later in the afternoon, you can't overcome that and heat back up to get any storms to develop, along this boundary. All right, that's the only thing I could see that would change. Remember, we're only Wednesday night, and we're going way out there and going to get really specific and detailed. This kind of stuff typically isn't really known. It's hinted at, the signal's there, but we fine tune as we get closer. But that's the only thing I can see messing things up on a dry Saturday afternoon and evening here across the I-44 corridor, including Oak City, and then points west and north. All right. And let's see, everything else looks good there. And then this model doesn't go far enough out to Sunday, but last I had seen, there were supposed to be a few storms around the state on Sunday afternoon, some severe weather. But we'll see about frontal positions and all that. We're getting way out there than the weeds. All right. I just saw something on TV I thought was funny. I will say nothing. I will hold my peace as a good boy. Keep my mouth shut. Your mama always said, if you ain't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I won't say it. I'll just think it. And then I'll throw that thought away. Because I ain't got time for that. I want no negativity. Okay, so let me see here real quick. I'm going to look at the radar data. 30-40, still not bad. That's good. So that's the last little storm out there in that area. Let me switch over to this guy. See, that's the only storm in the state, really, across central Oklahoma. Otherwise, down here in southwest. And that's it. So that's good. Good. All right, so again, you might get some pockets of wind with this guy, what's left of it, as it moves into central Oklahoma from the west, where it's only, 10 o'clock? And we've still got until about, it'll be 11 o'clock when it gets to the far west side of town, and then about midnight when it gets through up to about the I-35 corridor, just so you know. Okay. It's still chugging. Still got a lot of lightning with it. So with all these little positive icons are on the map, there's a lot of lightning. And wind-wise, that's interesting. So what got my attention is this guy right here. And that guy right there corresponds to this guy right here, which is a very weak little couplet. And sometimes you get those little QLCS baby tornadoes on the leading edge of a squall line. Now this squall line has pretty much died, and this is the only spot left, and it's on the leading edge of that. So it's kind of a broad spinning motion, but the wind speeds within this are pathetically weak, and it's more over looks like a 2 to 3 mile area. So it's not a tight couplet. But it got my attention because that's what I look for. Let me switch radar sites. See if I can get a little closer to that one. Well, look at that. It's still there. nothing else with it other than that. But anytime I see anything looks like a couplet with a little notch, I'm going to pay attention to it. Regardless, that's what we got with that particular storm. Let me do a storm track. Man, what is it? Where was this moving to? It was moving to the east, drifting to the east. It's right toward Minko and Tuttle. Should be coming up between you guys. And then, let's see here. It's kind of taking more of a northeastward track. So that would put on the west side of town, Yukon, clipping El Reno, and then probably heading up toward Edmond and north and west Oklahoma City. So it'll basically be in this corridor. Let's see. Any information on this cell? Hold on. All right. The last known information on this, there was a severe thunderstorm warning with it a while back. Motion was east at that time at 41, so I'm going to move it northeast. Alright, so I want to get the latest on that. There wasn't a warning on it anymore, so I'm like, okay, I need some information on this guy. So let's take that off. Let's do this. Whoa. Get off of there. Try that again. Alright, it's Minko, Union City, Tuttle, Mustang, Yukon. I had a gnat just fly up my nose. You ever have a gnat fly up your nose in a kamikaze manner? And you try not to sneeze? Woo! Anyway, 10:31, my eyes are watered. He's going to lay eggs and babies. 10:31 in Minko, 10:35 Union City, Tuttle, Mustang. Oh my gosh, Woodland Park, 11. That's that same stupid gnat's been around there all week. I don't even have a plant in this house or in this room. Bethany, 11:02. Anyway, so there you go. There's your time of arrival of what's left of this guy. And I'm going to have to cut this short so I can go and fish him out with a hook. That was some messed up stuff, man. Alright, seriously, I gotta wrap this up. Anyway, that's the only you have to worry about, a little wind from this that may come out of this as it decays. Otherwise, you got the forecast here for the next couple of days. So, thanks for joining me. I'll do it live again at probably lunchtime tomorrow. And then I'll cover tomorrow evening's supercell storms, should they break the cap and then produce a tornado kind of a deal. Alright, thanks for joining me and for watching this last week. And May's not over yet, so we'll just kind of take each event one at a time. Alright, thanks everybody. Have a good night. See ya.